Joakim from SABATON, and you are watching Loud TV.
Hello again, Joakim on Loud TV. So last time I saw you, it was at Hellfest,
Mm-hmm.
just before your second show, and you tried to talk to me, but you said, "I'm sorry, I can't talk."
Yeah, I remember.
It's and it's funny because it was a maybe we can say it was a tragic situation, but you could turn into a fiesta, a very good show, and I think everyone remember this moment.
It was a memorable show, that's for sure. If it was good or not, that's up to the listener. But I think yeah, especially since we were supposed to fill in for Manowar and they had canceled. We don't want to, cancel also because it was, yeah. And I think it says something about Chris and Tommy that even though, they've heard these songs many times and played them, they don't know the lyrics, or how is this one for my voice? So it was only sort of a few minutes before showtime. I'm like, I don't know what's happening. I've never had this before. What the fuck is going on with my throat? I don't know if I can make it. So I just went into the production office and started printing lyrics and just, Chris, Tommy, here are some of the songs. Pick one. Why? Like, you're gonna sing them because we're not canceling. And they're like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. I'm like, sorry, no.
Just in front of maybe 30,000 people.
Yeah, but it was
And
fun. To be honest, it's a unique show.
let's hope so. This will be the only show like this. But you enjoyed your time eating and drinking on stage, which is cool
Yeah, it
and
was
unique.
perfect. I got to watch SABATON for the first time.
So yeah, it was the two shows were killer, and then you got of course a European tour. The Paris show was awesome too,
Yeah,
and
I love that one. Paris is always a great crowd. It's fucking fantastic.
and I see also the evolution of the audience because when in Paris the audience was like maybe like 7 to 70 years old. I would say the range is larger. I would say.
Yeah. Now we're really lucky in that sense. I guess some of it comes down to us singing about history. That attracts a little bit of a different crowd. Also, we've been working with gaming companies. We're gamers ourselves, play a lot of that. So, and in the beginning, in the early YouTube days, all record labels and most artists were actually deleting or taking down videos, private videos from people who were sort of playing games and listening to Sabaton or any other band. But already in the early days, 10 years ago or even more, even before YouTube was a big thing, we told our record labels to, no, don't take that down. Unless they're trying to make money out of it, let them. Why should we stop that? And I guess that's one of the reasons as well. If not streamer, but if somebody filmed themselves, they weren't streaming back then. They were just recording themselves playing and then uploading it. And if they were playing and listening to, let's say, another artist, they would get deleted. But if they were playing games and listening to Sabaton, it would stay online. I guess
Yeah.
that helped in some sense as well.
You said that you are fond of video games, right? Did
Yes.
you which war video games like
Not only.
not only
No.
but yeah, which video games do you play?
Last night I started on Subnautica series. I haven't played that before. More of a survival game. Before that, the latest sort of new game I played and finished was Gears Tactics. So not historical, but absolutely military. XCOM series, XCOM 2. stuff like that. Strategy and tactical games, usually turn-based, I like as well.
Did you play at that time like Command and Conquer or stuff like this at the time?
Oh yes, Command and Conquer. Wow, one of my favorite games of all time. GDI versus Nod. Yeah, I remember even before it was released, looking at the pictures in the computer magazines, like, I gotta get this game.
It was
And
awesome.
especially since Westwood Studios, who did that
Yeah,
earlier, I really liked their previous game, Dune 2, which I played for
me
Amiga.
too. I would like to talk about this game. It was the tactical game. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's usually forgotten how, I mean, everybody thinks that, well, Command and Conquer and I guess Warcraft started
What? Yeah,
with
the two.
that thing, but I think it goes further back all the way to Dune 2, actually.
So the again a bad news because you have canceled the tour, the spring tour,
Yes, we
and
moved.
I would say it would be a nightmare, to manage and to schedule tour at the
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah, the Swedish tour has been scheduled and rescheduled, so it's 3 times now, it seems. And the European tour is on its second or third because it's not only about what we have announced. For example, our bass player Per, who's more involved with that part of things than I am, I he has booked and rebooked hundreds of shows for the last 2 years that hasn't happened.
So is it a cause of stress with some members, and how do you manage to keep control and to keep cool, or trying to keep cool?
Well, it is worse for Per for sure because I work more on the musical side of things. So when the lockdown came and the pandemic sort of started to happen and we started to know a bit more about it, I just decided to start write music, again, and we'll see where it takes us. So I've been busy with things that are, I mean, obviously we're all heavily affected by it, and I'm used to doing over 100 shows for a year. We're not doing that,
Yeah.
but at least I got to keep busy doing something I love. And me sitting and writing music, or maybe driving over, meeting up with Chris, having a few beers, writing some music, having a good dinner, writing some more music. I mean, that's totally unaffected by the pandemic. So from that point of view, it's weird that, yeah, it has affected our life and our career and touring life a lot. But the actual album writing, the recording of the album and all of that, almost totally unaffected. I won't say totally unaffected, but almost totally unaffected by it.
And listening to this new album, it's uh yeah, you you there are very few changes in your sound.
One, we actually enjoy playing the music we play. And secondly, we're sort of an evolutionary band, not a revolutionary band. Our musical basis is classic 80s hard rock and metal. Those are the firm roots, sort of Sabaton, have always been. And we've taken influences from other places, of course, and taking that into the mix, but that is the fundament. And while you listen to our first album, and then if you listen now to The War to End All Wars, there's a huge difference. But if you
Yeah.
listen to The Great War in this album, it's not a huge difference at all.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah, there's more variation on this. I like the production better. Songs, that's up to the fans, not to me to decide. But if you listen to any two Sabaton albums that are close to each other, they aren't going to be very different. But the further apart you come with these albums, the more different it's going to be.
Yeah.
So I guess we're comfortable in a musical evolution that's happening, over generations rather than over between every song.
And maybe because you're dealing with your music from A to Z, to you manage it very well. And who was the producer on this one?
Jonas Kjellgren, the same guy who did The Great War, was doing the production, and I think he did his best job he ever did. And I mean, this is also subjective, just like music, but there is more of a what do you call it, objective element to album production, you know. I think, as in quality of sound, at least to some level. And I think this is the best sounding album we ever had. So I'm really happy with that.
Yeah. And contrary to the previous album, The Great War, you wrote again songs on the First World War, but
Mhm.
it seems that it's historical, and you start at the very beginning of the World War, and you finish by the famous Treaty of Versailles. Why did you choose to make something um not? Of course, it's always historical, but
Yeah.
from 1914 to 1918.
18. Well, I think that's one of the reasons, because every time we go and do something new, I tend to listen to all the old stuff we've done. I normally don't listen to Sabaton for obvious reasons, but before we go into making something new, I like to do that, to listen with fresh air. What did we do good? What did we do bad? And one of the things I didn't like about, well, I think we could have done better with Great War, was sort of uh, the storytelling in a, well, it felt like a collection of stories, and it should be. But how about with this, a defined start and a defined end in a different way? Same with the production. Actually, I really like the production of the Great War. But if I listen to the regular version of the album and not the history version where I have the break in between, where if you get all those songs after each other, my ears were really tired after listening to that whole album. Listening to one song there, no problem at all. It sounded great, but it was harsh somehow. Not really bad, but if I'm looking for something to improve, I'm trying to look for potential problems. And then the production, how can we go heavier, but at the same time make it easier to listen to for a long period of time?
So of course, there are always stories. I would say, yeah, little stories. Like my favorite story is on your last video clip. How do you call it? Christmas truce.
It was actually in the beginning of the war. It was the first Christmas in 1914. Yeah, but they were not allowed to do it after because of the commanders when they heard about this Christmas truce. And it's such a great story because it's not only happening one place. This happened in several places across the front, and so there are small pockets of I guess compassion or humanity, whatever you want to call it, where soldiers and what do you call it, lower level officers decided to, you know what, I don't hate these guys, let's go out and have a drink together or play football or make a little Christmas tree. And yeah, one of my favorite war or military history topics or stories. And it's something we tried to get already on the Great War, but we didn't have the music, so we decided let's get it now.
Um, of course, there is again a wonderful artwork, and so yeah, it's always you have something very special about your always your artworks and the way you live on stage with all the tanks, and you are alone to do that, and you should be proud of it, I think.
Thank you. Yeah, we try to do everything. That's a luck. I mean, we don't have a separate management. That's basically Per doing the band's management, I guess, and everything is sort of approved from within the band. It's very few things are that we create. Of course, there are things that are happening that we aren't aware of, but that's not part of our creative process anyway. And everything in our creative process, what we are doing, what we are releasing, everything from an artwork has been probably checked by Per and then by Chris several times. Yeah, we're still, I guess, a bit naive in that sense. We still care about the album format. We still care about making things we can be proud of, because if there's one thing I can look back at is like if I listen to our first album, The Metalizer, yeah, maybe the songs aren't all of them are that good, but I can still be proud because I know that's the best I could do at the time. I gave everything. and then for me it's easier to try and fail, and I can live with that. Maybe not all songs turn out good. That's okay. But what I personally cannot live with is that whole mentality where I don't care. I didn't try, so it doesn't hurt if it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I don't like
Yeah.
that mentality. I'd rather be proud of the fact that I tried and it didn't work than
Your best.
trying to then go away with I didn't try that hard or I didn't care that much. If that's the case, I'd rather not do it at all.
Okay. And in those times, very hard for musicians. How can fans? How can help you?
Actually, as always, spreading the word, whatever it is, even if it's sharing stuff on social media, actually helps. Clicking like on a video, commenting on a video, all of these things, the way the algorithms work these days, is actually helpful. But especially if somebody knows a great story from military history that you think we have not heard yet. So please don't write D-Day. We already did songs about that, But if there is something you think we haven't heard of, and this goes especially for non-native English-speaking countries of France, absolutely. There is always a language barrier. And there are so much things about French history that we have no idea about. And there's so many good stories that we have been trying to find info about, but it's hard for us because we do not understand French. And unfortunately, there is so much material that is not translated to English. So if you know anything about French military history, you think we
I got I got
know them.
tons. I got tons of story, especially
Bring on the mail.
between French between French and English people, because so we fought so many times.
Well,
So there are ton.
that has been quite covered.